Hello, gamblers and midnight ramblers, and welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. I am your host, Quinn Boys. I have over 12 shares of GameStop currently appreciating in my investment portfolio, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host. He has a system, but he won't share it with me, Leonard Smith Jr. Leonard?
Yeah, my system is just I'm going to share it with you right now.
Thank you.
I follow the lottery scratcher truck guys, and whenever they stop to get donuts, I just break into the back, and I steal boxes of scratchers, and that's how I make my money. Strong arm game.
That's a system? Okay, well, if you say so.
Hey, man, we all have our systems, Quinn. You do yours, right. I'll do mine. Stocks is the white man game.
It is, to be fair. And actually, I haven't checked my GameStop account pretty soon. I understand there's been some recent activity. I might want to monitor that just to make sure that I'm getting out at the right time. But we are obviously talking about gambling movies this week, Leonard, on the podcast. We've got two picks that are prominent films in the world of gambling, and to help us kind of go through them today to understand what is the best gambling movie, we've got a guest. Leonard, please introduce our guest.
Oh, man. A dear friend, the host of Bet the Spread, funny person, on my first ever improv team that I was ever a part of, Brianna Sedor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hi, Brianna. Welcome.
Hi. Do you want to know my system?
Yeah, what's
yours?
yours?
I have
Please.
a system. I follow Leonard, and he drops a lot of those tickets that he stole, and I just pick them right up. I get them right, and I get all those from what he's dropped. So it's a good system.
I'm greedy. I can't lie about it.
You can't hold it.
I thought you were going to say he drops money.
Oh,
like
that
he's
too.
just got holes in his
actually,
pockets.
I just
Never
pick up
mind.
whatever he drops.
Well, we got Brianna on the episode today because, you know, if you're listening right now, the Super Bowl is about to happen, or it just happened. And I pray if you're listening after the Super Bowl that fucking Tom Brady got his face smashed into the grass. Fuck you, TB12. I acknowledge your greatness, but I fucking hate you. But anyways, sorry.
And I disagree with that. So you know I'm a Patriots
yeah, we have a big TB12 fan over here. You know what? I've had a love-hate relationship with TB12. I hated Eli Manning. I hated the Mannings. So I was always rooting for Tom Brady and the Patriots. And my sister actually dated a New England Patriot. So I met like Corey Dillon. I met Tom Brady. I met a bunch of Patriots back in like
Your sister
06.
dated Randy Moss?
No, she dated Daniel Graham. He used to be tight end
That's cool.
for the Patriots. So I've seen him a couple times. I've seen them like live. Got to go to some games, and yeah. Anyways,
I am a Giants fan. I'm not a huge football fanatic, but I take issue with the fuck Eli Manning sentiment that you just brought into the world. He's the only person that has downed Tom Brady in big games twice.
That's
so
true.
I think you should put a little bit of respect on his name. And
you know what? I have to appreciate him now, because if Tom Brady had fucking 8 Super Bowl rings right now, I'd be very upset.
He could have 9 other than the team of Philly. Brown, you're from Philly, but you're a Patriots fan?
Yeah, I'm a Patriots fan. My brother is a Giants fan as well, actually. He's a big Eli boy. Yeah.
A man of taste?
Yes.
A man of culture?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
So was it like, I guess the Phillies, oh boy, the Eagles Patriots Super Bowl from a few years back, that was was that difficult for you, or no?
This is bad. So my family, this is humble brag. We go to the Super Bowl every year, and
oh boy,
yes,
adopt me, please adopt me.
I've tried, Leonard. You know I tried. It doesn't.
We actually hung out. We hung out in Atlanta when the Super Bowl was there.
That was
a great time.
That was an insane time for another podcast, but my brother ended up getting brought home by the police that night. Thank you, Leonard.
The night we hung out.
Yep, you did. You brought us to the bar.
She left early.
I was like, I'm leaving. Jamichael's in the bathroom.
He stayed with me. And yeah. Anyways.
That was
every time I hang out with Leonard after midnight, I get brought home by the police.
Yes. That's why I was like, I'm going home now. But we were there at that Eagles Patriots Super Bowl. And I was actually in an Eagles jersey for some reason. I don't know why. And
oh yeah, it happened by mistake, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I woke up and I just happened to be in the jersey. Things was crazy, and yeah, that was a really crazy one.
Which player, McNabb?
Yeah, I was in a McNabb jersey for sure, always. I don't remember who it was. I have it right in my closet actually, but I'm not gonna go look at it right now. But yeah, that was
That's okay. But
I don't think I know any other person who owns more jerseys than you. Like, not one jersey from one team, but you own jerseys from like all teams. It's great.
It's so true. I have that 49ers jersey. I have like everything. The Carolina Panthers jersey. Just because like we pick what.
Because
like,
she goes to the Super Bowls. You
Yeah,
go to the Super Bowl, you buy a jersey.
I hate this. Let's move on, please.
well, we can move on to a slightly still on topic. You're a big football fan. You're a Patriots fan. You have a I don't know. Is it fair, like a gambling podcast? Is that how we describe
Yeah.
a Lions podcast? What would
We have a.
I'm not an expert in the world of gambling. I lose my money too easily.
So do
please,
I.
yeah.
And it's really dangerous for me. And my brother and I have a sports betting like Instagram show. Basically, we're trying to take it over to TikTok for the kids to get the kids gambling.
Sure.
Yeah.
Start them young.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if there's a gambling TikTok scene right now. So
I'm just imagining those dances like that people do in their bathrooms where they like pop and lock or whatever, and then you just put the text in like Lions plus 5.5.
Quinn,
Like you
that's
just
exactly
every time.
what we want to do. That's exactly
you knock away
Please
the
do
bad
that.
bets and you like accept the good bets.
That's what we want to do. It's
Okay.
So
I
you
like
guys
that.
primarily football or basketball is what, like
everything.
all sports?
We're gonna do we started with football because that's just when we started it, and then basketball is really hard to bet on, which is interesting because I really did think that someone was gonna pick Uncut Gems for this.
We
And-
made
I
a
think
rule
we both
that
talked
you could
about
you couldn't select Uncut Gems. It was too obvious. It was too blatant.
We had
of
a
choice.
gentleman's handshake agreement that we wouldn't pick it.
Cute. Okay, and as your lamest guest of all time, I am wearing my Uncut Gems sweatshirt because I was really pissed, and I was like, what the hell? Where is that? But that actually makes so much sense because it was too obvious.
Whenever the things are over and you come to my place, you'll
Yeah.
see. Quinn has seen it, that there is an Uncut Gems poster in my
Yes.
living room.
Yes,
Frame,
good for
a
you.
framed Uncut Gems poster, like limited edition poster in the living room.
Yeah, I paid too much money for this. So
I mean,
what are you gonna do?
It's such a good movie, and
Yeah,
like
it's so
literally, it's you feel like you've bet a ton of money. The anxiety you have, it's literally like watching a game where you have $50,000 on the game or something.
100%.
Yeah, it's the best gambling movie because the whole time it feels like you're watching the fourth quarter of a college football game where you really need them to kick a field goal in the last 5 minutes to cover. It's that pit of your stomach anxiety for 2 hours of a movie. And so that would have been a hands down winning pick.
I don't know how people watch that in the theater, because I didn't watch it in the theater. I watched it at my house, and I literally for the last, I think, 30 minutes of the movie was pacing. I was standing up, walking back and forth, watching. I couldn't sit down. I was freaked out.
I watched it in the theater and I was pacing, and no, I wasn't, but it was so I was so anxious. It was so crazy, and I love that movie, and I've watched it more times since then. I won't say how many. I just love that movie. I'm a little A24 freak, you know.
Okay. I watched it once and it was enough for me. I was like, I don't know.
You can't do it
loved
again.
but it was just like, I don't know if I can do this again. Anyways, let's get to our picks.
Okay.
Yeah, please. We usually pick films from our childhood, Brianna, or just from basically from the time when we were growing up that we would have been watching through to today. So Uncut Gems certainly would have been a pick, but I think Leonard and I picked movies that were maybe not foundational, but slightly more representative of growing up, what we would watch. Leonard, I will let you go first because you just finished my movie, so it must be top of mind. Or I'm sorry, you're going to talk about yours, but you just finished mine, so I'll let it settle.
I, unlike Quinn, doesn't go with the most obvious choice. You'll realize it when he says the name of his film, because this is a gambling episode. But I went with Snatch. I was really just like having this trouble trying to decide what movie I was going to choose. I initially thought I was going to pick Lucky number 11. Very good movie. It's centered around bookies and betting, but I chose the movie Snatch. And honestly, after I chose it and we had gotten into it, I was talking with my friend Rod yesterday. Pat past guest and asshole who allowed Quinn to win the first season of Film versus Film.
Love Rod, friend of the pod.
He mentioned something, and it's literally one of my favorite movies, and I didn't think of it. Harlem Nights. I don't know why I didn't pick Harlem Nights.
So you're starting this podcast by
No.
telling us that you didn't pick the best movie.
Well, best movie for me. Basically,
Okay.
because I should have forced Quinn to watch a black movie that he hadn't seen, and I messed up on that part. But it's Harlem Nights is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But anyways, I watched Snatch. It's about Turkish. He was conceived on a or no, was he conceived or did his parents meet on a flight? Anyways, that was gonna crash.
They met on a flight that crashed. I'm pretty sure he wasn't conceived.
He wasn't conceived on it. But it's about a boxing promoter, Turkish. I'm sure we've all
Jason
seen the
Statham.
movie. Jason Statham. Great guy. Him and his buddy Tommy. They're down on their luck. They're boxing promoters. So they go to Bricktop because they have no other choice. They need money. Turkish has never thrown fights. Man, I don't even know where to start. There's so much going on. There's Turkish, boxing promoter. There's Freddie Four Fingers. He steals the biggest fucking diamond from what is it? Antwerp? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Antwerp.
And it's basically two storylines. It's the diamond storyline, following the diamond and trying to get it back to the original person who wanted it. And it's the Turkish boxing line, and then they intermingle, and it's fucking crazy. Guy Ritchie, I think he'd already done Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yep.
That was his first movie. This was his second. And we all know Guy Ritchie's fucking style. It's hard cuts, fucking action.
So cool.
So good. Everybody, the casting in this movie is amazing. Bullet to Tony, fucking Four Finger Freddy, Benicio del Toro. I am forgetting Bullet to Tony's name.
It's Frankie Four Fingers, not Freddie. I'm just the second
God.
time you say it, I gotta stop you. I just watched it last night, but yeah,
I like
That's
Freddy.
Benicio del Toro.
That's fun.
Freddie.
Freddy.
it's too late for the rewrite.
It's basically Frankie loves to gamble. He has a gambling problem. Basically, the way it all revolves around gambling is Bricktop, mob boss, British mob boss. He any type of gambling, any type of betting he's involved in, and he fixes them, and he wins money. And I just hit this pin, and I shouldn't have done that. But the diamond changes hands hella times. Bricktop, we puts these people in a situation, but they're down on their luck. They're trying to be better about their trading. So they go to get a caravan, and they go to some gypsies, pikeys, to buy a caravan. They get hustled. Their fighter, they fight for the right to get their money back. Pretty George gets knocked the fuck out. Gorgeous George. And they end up having to use one of the gypsies, pikeys, Brad Pitt. Oh my God. Probably the best part about this movie is the gypsies. And
That's prime Brad Pitt from an attractiveness standpoint. If I
Okay,
could just
Brad
chime
Pitt-
in. This is like Fight Club
Brad
era
Pitt is
Brad
like
Pitt.
blind, man. He just gets better with fucking time. He's just like a croissant. You know what I'm saying? A croissant that's coming out the oven and it's hot, and then they put.
Does a
And then they
croissant
put
get
some
better with time?
No, hold on. And then they put some butter on it, and then the butter melts into the buttery croissant. You're like, oh shit. And then they put like some honey on it, and you're like, oh shit. Hold on, what's going on here? And then they get some strawberries, and it just gets better and better, and then you just eat it all up, and you just feel good. It's fantastic. That's Brad Pitt. He's so goddamn attractive, and with all the tattoos and the accent, he's just an amazing actor. I feel like
You like the accent? I want to talk
You don't
about
like-
the
I
accent.
yeah,
Oh,
we're talking
we
about
gotta
it.
talk about the accent.
My letterbox review is just
The
about
whole
the
thing
accent.
It's just so interesting. It's funny, and the fact that he was able to just do that, and keep it up, is just funny to me. But yeah, it's just a string of stories of this diamond, the fighting, how they tie together, and Bricktop just being a huge piece of shit and feeding people to pigs. It's a great story.
You just did a yeoman's work trying to summarize the plot of Snatch, because I just watched it last night again, and I've seen it a number of times. I own the DVD. I popped in the DVD last night to watch it before we recorded. The DVD asked me if I wanted to watch the full screen or the widescreen version. I said, let me treat myself. I watched the widescreen version. Back when DVDs are like, do you want to watch this on your box TV? I'd be like, no, give me the widescreen. but yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Leonard. This is a great Guy Ritchie movie, of which there are fewer. he's diluted his brand a little bit since then, but this was back when he was a kind of cool underground UK filmmaker. He did Lock, Stock, and then he did this, and this very much feels like everybody liked Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and then they were like, we're going to give you more money, and we're going to give you Brad Pitt, we're going to give you Benicio del Toro. Just make the same type of movie, but make it bigger. And I think he did. This movie is super fun. I cannot really follow. I mean, I can follow it, but I could not like recount it to you because there's so many twists and turns, so many characters. But it's just about. It's just a good time. It's just about a lot of kind of degenerate characters coming together.
Also, is this like, did Guy Ritchie basically discover Jason Statham?
He did, I think, because Statham's also in Lock, Stock. I'm pretty sure he I don't know if he discovered him, but he definitely made him popular. And this is my preferred brand of Jason Statham. I mean, I saw The Meg in theaters. I've followed Jason Statham to the ends of the earth, but this is my preferred cool, laid-back Jason Statham. The Meg, the movie about the giant shark.
Oh my God.
Stop playing with me, Quinn.
The Megalodon.
Stop playing.
I did. I saw it in theater. I had a day off.
You're like, let me treat myself.
I got out of jury duty early, and then I went and saw The Meg. Brianna, what do you think about Snatch? Is this a favorite of yours as well?
Yeah, and you know what's funny? My review of it was like, if that...
Do you actually have a Letterboxd review of it?
Yeah, you want me to read it? I'll pull it up right.
Can you please read your Letterboxd review of it?
Okay, I was super duper high when I watched it, so my reviews are
perfect.
Really weird. Okay, let's see. Okay, this isn't that bad. If Brad Pitt didn't sound like a Boston townie, this would be my favorite movie. I love this movie so much. The editing is just like beyond. I just think it's so fun. I don't think Guy Ritchie cares if you understand the plot. I really don't even know if the plot is the point of this. And I love that. Like, I'm just like... And then when they bring everything together and like they throw the milk and it hits,
that scene
and it's
is...
just...
we'll talk about that scene for sure.
Okay, good. Because I love that.
Let's get down to, I mean, Brianna just brought it up. I think we all have talked about it. Like, apparently when Guy Ritchie approached, and maybe someone's done research and can verify, you're not supposed to have, but if someone else knows. The way I'd heard it was that Guy Ritchie approached Brad Pitt about being in the movie, presumably for the part of Mickey. I don't know, but he wanted to work with him. Or maybe Brad Pitt wanted to work with Guy Ritchie. And he was like, oh, you could be this, he's like, I don't have an English accent. Like, I can't do an English accent. I think there's a movie with Harrison Ford where Brad Pitt plays like an IRA member living in the States, and he does an Irish accent, and it didn't turn out well for anybody. So he's like, all right, well, you know what you can do? You can be this gypsy character. And so, nobody can, they make a point of it in the film. It's not really English. It's not really Irish. It's sort of just some like, oh, how's you doing? Oh, you gonna write? Like, it's like a weird half Irish sounds, but not full words kind of language way of speaking. And so he just does that. And I think that kind of saves his performance a little bit because there's not, what are you going to say? Like, that's not how this group of roaming caravan people sounds. Like, it's like, I guess it is. I certainly don't know, but.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, exactly. None of us knows what the fuck a group, and it's like, there's probably a different accent depending on what group of gypsies you're seeing. I feel like is gypsies.
It's a cheat code. Are we
allowed? Am I allowed to say gypsies?
I think actually, I'm not the expert, but I think pikey is slightly more of a slur, but that's referred to throughout the movie. I know, Leonard, you're not saying it to be. So I think gypsy would have been the better. I'm not positive if either. Did you guys ever PC,
see that TLC show? There was like My Big Gypsy Family or something. It was like,
yes,
I probably watched about at least 4 episodes of that, and it was wild.
Yes.
We should decide the terminology, or we can just say
gyps.
the caravan camp. I don't know.
The caravanners.
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 It's a good thing to decide.
I honestly love the accent choice. I thought it's just fun. Dags, you like dags? Oh, dogs.
You like dags?
Dogs. Like, I wonder if that scene was that written or was that just did that come about? Because like, how do you even write that scene? Right. Like, did you know? Like, I don't know. It was just great.
I love that every time, because there's a few different times in the movie where people transact with Brad Pitt and co. And every time, like, they think they got a deal, and then they're driving away or whatever, and they always get a dog. I like that they throw a dog in there, and then anytime the deal goes south, and they realize after the fact, the dog runs away. So the dogs are like trained.
The dog
to return
content
to
in
the
this
camps.
movie is key.
The dog is the main antagonist, basically. Truly.
Truly.
I mean, protagonist, not the antagonist. The protagonist. Sorry.
Oh well, who knows?
Maybe he's both.
You also talked about Vinnie Jones, Leonard, who plays Bullet Tooth Tony, who is one of my. I mean, he's part of him maybe hasn't aged that well, but he's a great character, and it's a great Vinnie Jones performance.
Wait. What did Vinnie Jones do? I don't know. What did?
Oh no, not him personally. I'm just saying. I don't
know. You're talking about like the character.
Kept up with Vinnie Jones.
The character.
That guy may be up to some stuff. I'm just saying the character. But when he takes Roach or whatever the character's name is, I don't think it's Roach, but he puts his head in the window and then he rolls up the window and he starts driving and the guy's running along with the car.
So
it's a
good.
great scene.
So good.
And I'm just kind of mad. Okay, well, if we're gonna talk about Bullet Tooth Tony, before I get on that, Boris the Blade also dope as fuck. I can't say his name. Raid Suburgia, I think is
that the dude from John Wick?
I think it is. Let's see if he's from.
Yeah, I think he might be like the guy in John Wick who's like the villain. But anyway, yeah, he's great.
All the just like random characters are amazing. And
what's it? Bricktooth? Is that the other
Bricktop?
guy?
Oh, dude, he was scary as fuck.
Unbelievable. The scariest person ever. Like the Michael Caine accent. I just can't. It's so good.
Feeding people to dogs.
Where he walks in to Tyrone with Tyrone and Vinny, and he's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah.
Vinny and Saul, and he just like doesn't even acknowledge them, and he just like keeps on going on this little like so like this planned speech he had, and the whole time when you realize the whole time he's giving this speech, he's just giving these guys time to wrap the entire room in fucking plastic.
So good.
We're talking about the actor Alan Ford, who I haven't seen in a ton of other things, but I assume is probably a great British actor. He's got those dorky glasses. He's the bad guy. He feeds people to pigs when they disappoint him. So that's what Jason Statham and Brad Pitt are facing if they
not
continue
everyone
to throw
basically
fights.
Everyone is facing that.
Everyone's facing it. I think about that scene where Brad Pitt first throws the fight. He's supposed to go down in the 4th round. He doesn't. He's like Brad Pitt is like one hit man in this movie. If he punches you once, you're out because the fighters in where he grows up, they've got glass jaws. Or no, I'm sorry. They have iron jaws and they've got like fists of fury. So Brad Pitt doesn't throw a fight that he's supposed to. Jason Statham rushes back to his apartment thinking, I got to get my shit and head out of town because I'm screwed. And then they get there and of course, Bricktop is waiting for them, and Jason Statham drops his sugar in his cupboard, and he's like, he finds out they're not going to kill him, and he goes, put the kettle on. Do you want any sugar? And then the guy just goes, no thanks, Turkish. I'm sweet enough. And I was like, this guy is. It's great. It's such a great delivery. It's such a great line. I think about that 20 years later. But
he's joking around
it's a fun
while
movie.
He's gonna like cut people to shreds, and then he does a cheeky joke. I was like, that is incredible. I love him.
Oh man,
I watched this movie with subtitles, by the way.
Of
the
course,
great thing about the DVD,
of
I was like, put on these subtitles because otherwise I would get 70% at most. There's so much you miss in like fast talking kind of British slang crime movies of this era or any era, and Guy Ritchie is the director of most of them, or it's like
all of it is
I can't
fast
pretend.
Talking. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro is Frankie Four Fingers. I watched it with captions as well. He's just like,
he does a couple. He plays a rabbi at one point, and he does like a, I'm trying to think of a better word than he does like a kind of a Jewish accent.
I think it's like Israeli. It's like thick.
Yeah, something
so good.
Where
we haven't even talked about Avi. The quick cuts of Avi like going and coming from America,
taking the shot.
The editing
yes.
of that.
I was gonna say Dennis Farina is the unsung MVP of this movie.
Okay.
He's so good. Yeah. Oh wait, I'm sorry. You're saying Avi, but I was saying his American counterpart because that's my other favorite.
Avi, Dennis Farina is the American counterpart.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. I was thinking of.
I don't know who I would say the MVP is. I'll think about that.
Well, I was
Unsung,
saying
okay.
unsung MVP. Cousin Saul, Cousin Avi from America. I love you're exactly where they talk about where he like it's the series of 5 quick cuts, and then he's in London, and then like he gets in London, he goes, "Sit down, you limey fuck!" Like he has the same energy after doing a cross country trip, and he's angry at him. And then of course the best line was when he goes back, and then he's back in the States after he like accidentally kills a man. And the guy's like, "Anything to declare?" And he's like, "Yeah, don't go to London." Like he's just Dennis Farina.
All right,
great.
I'll tell you who
That is so
isn't
good.
we'll get to your pick here in a second. We normally do our picks and then discussion, but you know what?
That's okay. We wanted to jump into Snatch.
It's such a good movie, you know. Who? There are black people in this movie, you know, but they're all fucking idiots, man.
Idiots. I was
God.
gonna bring that up.
Damn it, man. And then it's like, okay, maybe things are gonna work out for them, and then they get arrested, and as they should have been arrested because they're fucking morons. The replica gun scene with Bullet Tooth Tony.
So funny.
Oh my god!
That was so
you see,
good.
on the side of your gun it says replica, and on the side of my gun it says Desert Eagle .50. You guys thought you smelled some pussy, huh? Like I was just like, oh my god! Literally, I don't think there's any moment in this movie where they make like a smart logical decision. Maybe when it's like they get back to their shop to stay alive, where he like keeps the diamond in his crotch because he knew he was probably gonna die right there, but they still got arrested.
But that doesn't end up working out either.
Nothing works out for him. It's just like, God. I just love how like
bad.
everything is so confusing and so opening that like there's so many storylines. You're like, all right, maybe this could work out for him, but then it all ties together and everybody gets fucked except for Turkish.
Yep.
And Tommy and the Pikeys, the caravan crew.
They'll probably do minor time. I mean, I think other people come out worse, but you're right. It's not a great look for Vinny Soul and Tyrone.
Minor
There's
time.
that
They
shot
had
of
2
Tyrone
dead
where
bodies
he's
in
getting
their
out
trunk.
of the car.
They got pulled over.
Oh yeah, they did. That's
I
2
forgot about
bodies.
the dead body.
That's life, my
I thought
guy.
it was just for robbing the place.
They're gone.
They're also gonna for sure get caught for robbing the bookies because they're on camera.
Yep.
It's just like,
There's also only
Yeah, that's
one
right.
woman in the movie. Not.
oh shit, damn.
Both of these picks.
Someone's able to shame Leonard more than Leonard shaming me for not having black
No.
people in the movie.
There's.
Because my movie has a strong female
I
character.
was gonna say, I was like, both of these. I was thinking about it on my bike ride this morning. I was like, what about like women in these movies? And I was like, okay, Mickey's mom.
That's
And
literally
that's it.
That's literally
That's
it.
literally it.
Oh my god, that is.
But I mean, like, it's I don't.
Oh, hold on, hold on,
ruined it.
hold on.
I'm telling you.
The woman behind the counter at the bookies. That was a great scene.
Oh, she's great.
She was great.
She was great.
She was badass.
You're right.
You're
right.
all bets are off.
off,
Like she
yes.
was like at the cojones. I was just like, okay.
Yes.
She also
And
fired
she
the
took the
shotgun
shotgun
at
and
them. She
fucking
grabbed the
fired it.
shotgun. And,
Fucking.
was
Let's
cool.
see her movie.
Right?
I want to.
I want to see what she's like. I bet you
Jesus.
she during her off times is like a dominatrix. Like she's the
Yep.
she's the dom, and she probably like spits on dudes and like has them on
Yes.
leashes and shit. She looked like that type of chick.
Totally.
That's
I
not
wanna
my
see
thing,
it. I
but
wanna see-
you know, who knows? I feel like maybe she could get me to try it out.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
we're learning something about Leonard today. Let's
Yay.
before we talk about why these are like good gambling movies, let me introduce my movie, which I think it's self-explanatory. I picked the 1995 De Niro, Scorsese desert gambling classic Casino, starring Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Sharon Stone. This is a long movie, and Leonard ate up a lot of time describing Snatch, which is again is a heroic effort for a movie that is hard to describe. But I'll just say this is basically kind of the history of Las Vegas. It's obviously it's not autobiographical, but you get the sense, and I believe it's the case, that a lot of these characters are based on real people and kind of the real history of Las Vegas and how it was kind of controlled by the mob. A lot of these famous old casinos were run by mob connected guys, just because there's so much money changing hands and there's a lot of financial interests. So Robert De Niro plays one such person. His name is Sam Ace Rothstein. He runs what's the name of the casino? Leonard? You just watched this movie. Tangiers. Thank you. And he, with classic Joe Pesci character, his kind of enforcer character, his hand man, the guy who's really connected, Nicky Santoro. They kind of run things on the Vegas Strip. They're high rollers. They're classic De Niro, Pesci, Scorsese characters. They're kind of made men. They wear nice suits. They're not afraid to get violent. And De Niro is not a gambler. Not in terms of playing, craps or being at the tables, but he does kind of gamble in a lot of ways in his personal life. The biggest gamble being when he falls for, I'd say, professional woman, Ginger McKenna, Sharon Stone, who is amazing in this movie. He falls in love with her. She is, she's a person who appreciates the finer things. She appreciates fine jewelry. She appreciates money. She appreciates having things. So he kind of tries to buy her, which does not work out well for him. By marrying her and kind of seeing his professional and personal life crumble as a result of that and some other bad decisions that he makes. It's an epic. It's got to be about 3 hours. If it's not 3 hours, it's like 2 hours and 50 minutes.
2 hours and 58 minutes.
2 hours and 58 minutes. Leonard just finished it before the podcast started. But it is, I think it's a little bit underappreciated because just 5 years prior, Scorsese with De Niro and Pesci made Goodfellas, which is, I think, for most people, the pinnacle of their collaborations. But this movie, it kind of seems like a retreat at first glance, I think. However, if you watch it, I think there's a lot different about this movie that that Goodfellas doesn't do, and I think it's one of the most beautiful movies about Vegas. There's so many great scenes of like when Sharon Stone throws the chips in the air, or like just the way they get the lights and stuff. I've never been to Las Vegas, which is maybe blasphemous for me to pick a movie set there, but to me, that's like one of the few times where I'm like, this. I don't know if it would be fun. I would not have fun hanging out with these characters, but I understand the allure. I understand the kind of the old-timey charm. And even in 95, this is talking about an era that largely doesn't exist anymore, when this were such kind of nakedly run and operated by made guys, these casinos.
Well, I think it's
kind of like
it's also set over a long period of time. I think it's
set over a long period of time.
Like the 90s.
It's like The Irishman for Las Vegas, right? I mean, instead of playing an Irishman, Robert De Niro is playing a Jewish man. But it works to me. I did not see this movie until I was a little bit older. I think I was in high school when I first saw it. So it's not like I don't know, any kids grow up watching Casino.
I was going
to say,
what kid is
but when I did see it, I was like, oh wow, yeah, I really get this movie is it's a cut above. I think Sharon Stone has a lot to do with that too. I think this is one of the best female performances from like any Martin Scorsese movie. I think she's amazing in this movie. I understand the Sharon Stone appeal from this movie, and that's all I'll say. I mean, plot wise, we can talk about individual things, but basically it's just Robert De Niro running a casino in Vegas for 3 hours and issues abound.
I wouldn't say just Robert De Niro running a casino for 3 hours. I would say it's him dealing with the mob and running a casino. The first half of this movie,
the movie takes place like 65%.
I would say the first hour and a half of this movie is a casino movie, and the second half of the movie is a mob movie.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Like you said,
Brianna, what's your relationship with this movie?
Well, okay, so theoretically you picked the perfect movie for me because Goodfellas. I had a Goodfellas poster in my college dorm. I'm a little Scorsese girl, I love this movie. I've seen it a bunch, and I love it so much. And I love Martin Scorsese and Mean Streets and all of it. It's so good. And theoretically, like that would be it. Casino, gambling, sure. I also think it's very much a mob movie, and But things you were saying too, like I feel like I'm like thinking about it now. I'm like, because my mind is really not made up with these two movies, and I don't know. I think I love this movie. It's one of my favorites, and I could go on and on about it. And I'm so glad I got to watch it again. But I do think a lot of it's like this mafia, and I'm Italian. Also, did I mention that? So, we love Scorsese. We love all that.
I think I eat enough pasta to be considered Italian.
Yeah, of course. And I'm trying to adopt you as well into the family, so you kind of have to be. So you're fine.
And I've been told I talk with my hands.
Yeah, you're from New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not Italian, but I am. I did grow up in New Jersey, so I'm.
Yeah, you grew up in
like-
Italy. Yeah.
I feel like I
What
watched
part
this
of the
movie.
boot of New Jersey are you from?
Yeah.
Sorry, Leonard.
I feel
keep
like I
going.
watched this movie probably too young. I feel like maybe I was like 13, 14 when I watched this movie. And I loved it. I loved Goodfellas. Me growing up, I didn't know who the fuck Martin Scorsese was or what his movies were, but I just knew I loved those movies. And I feel kind of like it's a Goodfellas 2.0. I almost was like, I mean, I knew I was going to watch a movie, but I almost had this feeling like I don't need to watch Casino. I fucking know Casino from beginning to end. All these scenes are memorable. This entire movie is so memorable. It's shot so well, and it's a three-headed monster. Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, and Sharon Stone are all fucking amazing in this movie. It's crazy how well they're just so good. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I felt like I was really watching it, and I was like, I really fucking hated Ginger. I really hated her. I was like, what the?
Yeah.
I know. Oh
But
my
you
God.
also don't you feel a little sympathetic
I hate all
for her
of
in the
them.
beginning? Like
No,
she told him essentially this
Okay,
is what's
yes,
going
yes,
to happen.
yes. She
She's
said, "I
like,
don't
if
wanna
you marry
marry
me,
you."
I don't love you.
Yes, and
so it's like that's not going to end well, dude.
that part made me dislike Sam, and I felt like everything we learned about Sam Rosting up to that point, that decision didn't make sense to me. But
That's his gamble.
Exactly,
He's like,
that's
I
his
think I can
gamble.
make you love me. I can bury you under enough
And-
things. I can.
Oh,
I can
see
make
what
you,
you're getting at for
you know.
your
yeah, well,
argument
he
here.
already started it early, but I have also the same plan with mine because literally every decision everyone makes in Snatch is a fucking gamble. Literally every decision
Right,
you
but
make is a gamble. The black dude's going to rob the
I'm
bookies.
excited.
There's a lot of big payoffs that people think they can get in Snatch. So, but there is also a lot of negative factors or negative things that could happen, and people still are going about it. But anyways,
Well, let's
Sure.
stay on just because we
let's stay on
talked about
Casino.
Snatch Song. I just wanted to ask you guys. This has been a thing for me when I watch this movie every time, and perhaps I'm wrong. Are you guys? You guys have both been to Vegas, I assume.
yes.
Yes.
Are there people in Vegas or anywhere else that speak like Joe Pesci speaks in this movie? He puts on this weird, like almost Western accent, like a Western Italian. He's like, when I was going to the plate, like he's got like this weird twang in his voice, which is not like you hear in Goodfellas or even Home Alone. Like there's no other movie where Joe Pesci sounds like this. And I'm curious as to why that is. And I don't know. Maybe I should have researched it, but
I think it's just the way. Think about Joe Pesci's character. He probably grew up watching like Westerns and watching like Clint Eastwood and John Wayne and shit. And he's moving out west and he wants to be different from everybody back home. I feel like that influenced him. And he's just a little guy who likes to beat up people. I kind of like the accent. It felt like it made sense to me.
Yeah, I think it fits with his like gutting out there and trying to take over. He's like, this is my town now. He's like, I have the only black market thing going on. Like, this is my town. And then he's like, well, I gotta like follow up with that. So he puts this little accent on it to be more legit.
So you're saying you guys are both saying the character, not obviously Joe Pesci the actor is putting on an accent, but you guys are saying it's the character too. He's like adopting a persona when he goes out.
I don't want to give him that much credit either.
I would
being
love to
like,
think he had,
thought
like-
that
I
hard.
don't know. Joe Pesci's a
Like
pretty
a
great
big
actor.
Yosemite Sam cowboy hat, like in one scene. If he just came in with like a
Yes.
10-gallon hat.
What I will say though is like, I felt like the instant going back to Ginger, the moment we meet Ginger, I disliked her. Like she's stealing and doing
Yeah.
all this, but Sam sees that hustler in her. It also just didn't make sense to me. I guess it's because she was gorgeous, but like literally every other person who tried to cheat at all, he was breaking their fucking hands and putting their heads through doors and shit. But she literally is scamming people and, you know, throwing chips on the casino floor, and he doesn't give a fuck. He's just like,
Well, she's not
enamored.
stealing from the casino though. She's stealing from like
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
She's
but
like
that's
taking
still-
chips
yeah,
from
from the
people's
other
tables.
dudes.
No, I know, but
But she's
yeah,
also just
she gets
causing
away with it
He's in
because
love.
on
he's in
his
love.
casino floor.
He loves
but exactly, he's
her.
enamored. So it's like I understand. He truly is just in love with her, and it's funny when you see Nikki see Ginger for the first time. Too, his fucking eyes light up, and he's just like, God, you knew the moment. You can tell the moment Nikki sees Ginger that he like is like, I want her, and it took
Yeah.
a long time for it to happen, but it did. We all saw it coming, and like I love how
for my
Scorsese,
money-
like teased it. It was like, is it gonna happen this time? Is it gonna happen this time? And then it finally happened when everybody's down bad. It's just like, all right, fuck it. We have nothing else to lose. We're fucking.
For my money, her extended, we'll jump all around in both of these movies. They're long movies and they're very plotty. But her extended cocaine-fueled breakdown scene towards the end of this movie puts Henry Hills to shame. She's so good just being like, I'm going to get the money. I'm going to go. And she's like calling the cops and stuff. And De Niro's like standing on the front lawn being like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's such a... We talk about Uncut Gems being a tense movie. Granted, this is not to do with gambling or whatever, but that whole scene just makes me like, oh, so uncomfortable. She's like trying to grab the kid. He's like, no, you're not taking my kid. Like, it's such a visceral, like, family dynamic breakdown. And they were always a sham family, but De Niro is a good father in the movie, or at least he's attentive to his child. And she's like running off to go with her pimp, played by James Woods, who's very good in this movie and funny.
Yeah.
And exactly well cast as a scummy pimp. And like, she's like, I'm going to take my kid. I'm going to take my money. I don't trust them. She like has the cops come after. It's a very, and she meets a tragic end. I mean, I don't think she's the hero of this movie, but I think she's a great character and a great performance.
She doesn't ever have the cops come. Our neighbors calls the cops because nobody.
Okay. Yeah. Either way. But then she's like, I need you to make sure when I go in.
Around here calls the cops. You don't call the cops. Because in that scene, I'm like, why isn't he calling the cops on this crazy lady? Like, it's obvious all the things that she's done. She tied your kid up, but he can't call the cops. He's basically in the mob. You never call the police.
Exactly, and the cops are very like, oh yes, yes sir, yes,
He's
Mr.
like,
Ross.
Yeah, they love him.
Yeah,
yes.
my wife, she's actually pregnant again. It's like,
yeah, that's right. He's clearly paid this guy off before
a dozen times.
But I really hate her in this. Like, I hate her in this, and the way she. Like, the moment where I really was like, okay, I'm done, I think is when, just like they do, when she does coke in front of the daughter. I'm like, she's sitting right there and she does it and
letting James Wood talk to
James Wood. Yes. Oh my God. I'm like, I have no sympathy. Yeah.
Just talk to her daughter. I'll smack you in the face. I'll send her in a box to Bolivia. I'm like, what is wrong? What do you, all right.
For me,
go ahead.
And they're both characters are dead to me at this point. It's the scene where she gets with Joe Pesci, mostly because I had to watch that, where she
the last sex scene where he's like,
she gets with Joe Pesci
taking her from behind. You're like, oh my God.
And I'm like, dude, you're going to be buried in the desert next to your brother, and you've got it coming. That's not cool. And then Sharon Stone dies like doing drugs in a trap house somewhere.
So
I don't know.
Let's do the point where we hated each character through the movie. The point where I hated Sam Rothstein through the movie. I want to initially say when he was like, let me buy you ginger. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to say that part. The part I really was like, what the fuck are you doing? When he fucking made the TV show. It's like, all right, bro, you are doing too fucking much. I don't know if I might have hated him before that, but when he was like, they're like, keep it quiet. And he's like, I'm going to do my own TV show. I was like,
I love that. I'm like, yes, get on TV, get your bread, do your thing. I loved that. I hated when he said when he wouldn't let I know that guy was an idiot and he was screwing up the slot machines and all that stuff, but when the guy commissioner comes in and he's like, just find him somewhere, I'm like, find him somewhere, find him a place, let him work as a bartender. I'm so mad
that might be the part two. That might be my part two, because I was like, what the fuck are you doing? This is gonna be the
yes.
He's a scummy character, but I couldn't bring myself to hate Robert De Niro in this film. I mean, he does a ton of hateable things. I'm just going to say, for whatever reason, like, it's the Tony Soprano thing. Like, if it's the main character, you're not rooting for him to whatever, but I was like, I think it's because they show him being like the better parent, not a good parent, but the better parent, as opposed to Ginger, where I was like, he seems like the most, I don't know. It's the spell that the movie puts me under.
I know the moment that I loved. The other two are just so shitty, so he stands out. I don't think
the worst Joe Pesci moment, but also my favorite scene maybe is when he is on a losing streak and he's at the he's playing what, 21 or whatever
blackjack.
It is, or he's playing blackjack, and
21,
and he's just hey, there's a whole blackjack movie called 21. People call it that.
Another one I thought someone was gonna pick. Maybe
I've never seen
it. Oh, okay.
But where he's throwing stuff at the deal. He's like, you son of a bitch. Where he's just getting increasingly angrier and angrier at the guy.
He's like, put that card up your ass. Put that card up your sister's ass or your mother's ass.
Yes. And the shots of that the dealer just so ugly, like, that's so mean, but like he calls him ugly to his face, and I was just like, Oh,
Think about that
God.
casting call. All right, we need an ugly,
know.
we're talking ugly man who looks like he can deal cards.
No, uglier.
We need someone to take more abuse from Joe Pesci in 3 minutes than Macaulay Culkin does in the entirety of Home Alone.
Of both Home Alones.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So we can lead back into Snatch, but I will
wait.
real
We
quick
haven't talked
segue.
about the point where we hated Nikki yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Keep
Honestly,
going.
I don't think I truly hated Sam Rothstein. I just hated that he was fucking up. I wanted him to succeed. So that's where it's more like
Me too.
Him. Nikki, I don't even
He never
really
wanted
know.
Nikki there in the first place.
I want to maybe say that scene is when I just was like, Nikki, what are you doing? Because like that quote, the beginning quote that Robert De Niro, Sam Rothstein characters says when he's explaining Nikki, it's kind of hard. Just like, you can't really be mad at him. He's like, you come at Nikki with a bat, he's going to come at you with a knife. You come at Nikki with a knife, he's going to come at you with a gun. You come at Nikki with a gun, you better kill him. Because he's going to keep coming at you till one of you is dead. And it's just like, well, that's literally...
Okay, I wish you did that quote. You did better than him.
Well done.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally just like sets the character for the entire movie. That is literally who he is.
Yeah.
And you just can't really be mad at him because everything about him is shitty. So it's like, but when he just like couldn't stop controlling, like he went too far. The casino was just like, it was ridiculous. And also fucking Sam's wife. But yeah.
Yeah. I can say mine. Yeah. Nikki does insane, crazy, stupid stuff. I don't hate him for that because that's his character. What I hated him for, which is just like me being like, I hate gaslighting, is when they're in the desert and Robert and Sam Rothstein is like, you asked my permission to come out here and I said yeah. And Nikki's like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, there's a scene where you did ask, and like that just pissed me off. That was the first time I was like, I actually hate you because that did happen and I could play it back if you need me to.
That's funny. Receipts.
Kudos. Yeah. I don't know. Did Scorsese discover? I know they've been in movies together dating back to
Taxi Driver.
Oh my gosh. No, the boxing movie that I'm
Raging Bull.
Raging Bull. Which is also a great De Niro, Scorsese, Pesci movie. There's 3 great De Niro, Scorsese, Pesci movies, and those are the 3. And like, I don't know if Scorsese discovered him necessarily, but I think it's fair to say that he helped make him famous. And the fact that he saw this guy who must be like 5'4", I'm not trying to short shame anybody, but
Joe Pesci.
Pesci's not very tall. And De Niro's not that tall either, and De Niro looms over Pesci. Yeah. The fact that he saw this guy and was like, this is the scariest character that I could put into all these movies is kudos to whoever realized that. Yeah. Like, he's terrifying in these movies, but like, he should be a joke. It's a little bit of like that, like, you know, was it like the Bugs Bunny cartoon where there's like the little like gangster guy with the big hat that would always, like, he shouldn't be scary, he should be funny, but he's terrifying. And yeah, that scene, Brianna, that you talk about where he's like kind of vaguely he's like, oh, you told me? Oh, you tell me what I do. You know, it's a little bit of the funny like a clown moment from Goodfellas where you're like, this guy's insane.
Yep.
I was just going to say, and I've already said where I started to hate that character. It's where he and Ginger hook up just because I had to watch that. But I think these are, you know, I picked this movie. Leonard points out it's half a casino movie and half of a gangster movie. I think there are obviously a lot of gangster movie elements to Snatch, or just a lot of crime drama elements to Snatch that are not necessarily gambling related. So I wanted to give Brianna a chance to kind of explain or further kind of go into our prompt, because when we were picking this, and we knew Brianna has a podcast about betting, you know, gambling, betting spread. We were like,
show.
Right. I'm sorry. IG show. I consider.
Who knows what it'll become, you know?
But like, so we were saying, does it make sense to call this the gambling movie episode or the betting movie episode? And you kind of set us straight. And I was wondering if you had thoughts on like what the distinction between those two things are.
Okay. I have been thinking a lot about that, truly. And with Snatch, I feel like it's betting. Like a lot of it is betting, and it's bookies, and they use the word bookies, and it's like stuff that I personally feel like I could get into at some point in my life, and there is a lot of focus on betting. And then in casino, he is like a horse and sports bettor. Like that's his thing in reality. And I think having gambling as like the overhead, it makes it like betting is within that. That's what I was saying. It's like
Right.
Because then if you say betting and not gambling, casino wouldn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like because there isn't that betting ass. I guess there is, but I don't know. That's why I'm like still truly. I can't wait to hear your like final arguments because I am still not 100% sure. How I feel.
Let's get into these.
Let's lead into the final arguments by touching on some of our criteria, right, Leonard? Unless you had another point before we get into that.
No, we're good.
Me?
Leonard.
Okay.
No, Brianna, you did it perfectly. That I think
Okay,
it sums
good.
it up. The betting is under the big tent of gambling.
Normally,
I think.
Sure.
we don't have two movies of this caliber that are this good. We normally don't talk about them for this long.
Hey,
but that's fine.
Such incredible
They're
movies.
both so good. Okay, so the first talking point criteria is pop culture, and man, I feel like both of these have a pretty major pop cultural influences, but I don't know if Casino truly has. I still think Casino is part of the overall pop cultural influence of Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese. When I think of those three, I think of Goodfellas. So I think of Am I a Clown with the Ray Liotta. I think of those things. So I don't know necessarily pop culturally wise if I just said Casino did, but I don't know what parts of it.
No, I understand what you're saying. I think there are other more popular collaborations from which people say, like, yeah, Funny Like a Clown, funny. You know, there's more popular movies that De Niro and Pesci did with Scorsese than Casino. So I'm happy to agree with that. But I think, and like Snatch, if I'm going to Snatch, I think there are some kind of like You Like Dags is something that I've heard a lot. After that, I think just Brad Pitt's weird accent is something that is kind of made fun of or like fondly remembered a lot. And honestly, like for kind of starting Jason Statham's career too, I think there's a little bit of that. Like you see this movie and you're like, oh, a lot of people, even Tommy, like went on to play like Al Capone on Boardwalk Empire. Like he's been doing some other stuff since then.
Ugh, he was great in that.
Yeah.
Oh
too.
God, I love Boardwalk Empire so much. All right, well here's one of my favorite parts. I don't know if it's truly has a large pop cultural influence. Also, like Guy Ritchie went to blow up and do a lot of shitty movies after this, but when Turkish is like, "Hey, what's happening with the sausages, Charlie?" He's like, 5. He's like 2 minutes.
Oh,
he's
that
like,
was so
okay,
funny.
cool. And he comes back, "Hey, what's happening with those turkeys, those sausages, Charlie?" 5 minutes. He's like, "It was 2 minutes 5 minutes ago." Oh man. But well, of course, you take the sugar. I'm already sweet enough. Line is great.
Yeah, when I throw a dog a bone, I don't want to know how it tastes. Like he's got a lot of great.
He's got so
a
many
lot of great
lines. But I feel like every kid in like the early 2000s had a fucking college kid, like you said, had a Snatch poster on their fucking wall in their dorm room, and like I just feel like it was one of those movies. Because it was kind of perfect around my age. Time would be like, "Have you seen Snatch? Oh, you haven't seen? Oh, you gotta watch Snatch." I for sure smashed a few chicks.
It's like a little bit of a cult
Snatch.
classic. A little bit, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's,
no, totally.
It's because it might actually definitely be a cult classic, and it's got that feel to it. Whereas Casino, like I get what you're saying that like Goodfellas would be. If you're gonna think of those guys, you think of Goodfellas. But I also think Casino is like when you mention Casino to people, you're like, that's the forgotten one. Like that's the one that people don't pay as much attention to.
When you think of Casino, the first thing that always comes to my mind is Nicky and his brother getting thrown into the field.
Yeah.
Like Mad TV had a funny sketch where they parody that. I remember when I was a kid and I like. Oh yeah, there's a funny Mad TV sketch where they parody that whole scene, and I don't know what, but I feel like that's probably the most memorable thing or first thing that comes to mind when you say the movie Casino to me.
Remember Jim? This is SNL, but remember Jim Brewer used to do like the Joe Pesci talk show, where he would just do like this killer Joe Pesci impression, and then like every guest that came out, he would like get offended by it. And so, oh, you're making fun of me.
Oh, also, and what I mean, okay, here's a point that I completely missed and I have to talk about, but I also think about that dude writing everything down in the fucking book. Like the whole time it's like, why are you writing
Oh my
things
God.
down? In the
Oh my
book?
That's a
God.
great scene, and that's Scorsese's mom, I think, where they're like having the argument
is?
and the
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
She's in all of his
Yeah.
movies, or she's in a lot of his movies.
She's like that one. She was incredible in that moment. That was so good.
Yeah.
But there is a pop culture influence for Casino that I forgot to talk about is fucking rappers, rap music. Sam Rothstein gets brought up so many times.
Oh.
Jay-Z uses him a lot of times. I feel like Casino is actually a pretty well seen movie. It might be one of them. I mean, actually, I feel like black people have seen Goodfellas probably more. I feel like that's probably also referenced more. But like because of I feel like the Sam Rothstein line, the name has been used many times in rap lyrics.
I'm remembering now off the top of my head. I don't know what song it's from. This is very white person quotes rap, but there's a Jay-Z line.
Jay-Z,
It
yeah.
might be from American Gangster, which is about a whole other movie. But he says like
Frank Lucas.
something like Casino. You saw what that last one did to De Niro, and I heard that line before I saw the movie, and I always thought that meant that De Niro gets it at the end of Casino, but he doesn't. He just becomes an old man with big Coke glasses playing the ponies, which is pretty good considering how he winds up in some of his other movies.
And this movie came out, when we were probably all very young. So I just feel like, to me, Snatch is wins pop culture, but I don't know.
I'll give it to Snatch. I'll also say I forgot to mention it's not a really cool band at the time, although if you like it, that's cool. But that song by Oasis that they use in the boxing scene, "Fucking in the Bushes," where like Brad Pitt's fighting, it's like an instrumental. It's like that like, and then that shot where he gets punched and his head whips back.
God.
And he hits the mat and he goes under the water. I think about that shot a lot. I think people might be somewhat familiar with that. Certainly, if you've ever seen the movie, you'd remember it.
The music in both, I mean, unbelievable. I love the music supervisor from Casino. All of Martin Scorsese's movies have good music. But it's funny because I watched with my roommates, and my roommate kept being like, this music from Snatch, he's like, I feel like is so familiar. I feel like I've heard it done in other things. I didn't really think, because I was like not sure who won the pop culture, but I think with music-wise, Snatch might take it, because I feel like people have tried to recreate the Snatch music a lot or use it or whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of music, I just thought it was real dope when Nikki just show things are so bad that Nikki just shows up to Sam's house and they go and talk in his garage and they talk in the car. And Fleetwood Mac is playing. You can go your own way. It's like, oh my God, that's
So
the perfect
good.
song. That like literally dividing and going off in different directions. All right, so let's get to the second one. Is how well do these movies hold up? And I feel like honestly, they both hold up pretty well. I mean, there's not enough women in either one of these movies. But I mean, Casino
whatever.
has Sharon Stone. A dominant.
Casino does not have a lot of women, but I think has a much meatier role for
Exactly.
a woman than anything you'd find in Snatch.
But
She's a crazy bitch. But
She's crazy,
in
but
there.
everyone
good.
in the movie though
She's
is
good.
crazy. They're all crazy.
yeah, like they're all murderers. They're all some
Yeah.
level of bad people.
Yeah.
But I think Sharon Stone's performance is the best in the movie, which is crazy considering who else is in the movie with her. And
Right.
I think, she may not grade out as a sympathetic character, but she's incredibly complex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Because she does seem to genuinely love James Woods' character, which is like her ruin, right? Like this pimp who will like sell her out every time De Niro just gives him money. He goes away for a little bit, but she keeps coming back to him. Like
who met
there
her
are
when
levels
she was
of
14 years old. It's just like, oh,
exactly.
God.
Yeah,
They're like
so
she's
messed up.
crazy, but she's a product of this awful environment in which he finds her. So I again, if you want to call that sympathetic, maybe not, but like she's not evil. She's just really fucked up
Yeah.
and
100%.
is a bad person, but like only because people have done bad things to her since she was 14 years old.
And she's like, yeah.
And she warned everybody. She's like,
And she
"I
told
am
him."
screwed up. So stay away from me.
Okay. How do you?
I'll say, can I a little bit of a, not to come for a Snatch, but just watching it last night, this occurred to me. Guy Ritchie is, I think these are his movies, right? It's Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and it's Rock and Rolla, which I have actually not seen. But these kind of gritty underground UK gangster movies, I thought a little bit when I was watching some of the scenes in Snatch, I was like, oh, I can see why, and I still enjoyed it and I still like it, but I can see why this was so the be all end all to me when I was 13, whenever I saw this movie for the first time, because there's a little bit of that like Tarantino, like I'm going to sit here and really chew on the dialogue and stuff. And there's like a couple of those moments to me didn't hold up, not because they were offensive, although certainly if you want to nitpick those, but like Vinnie Jones when he like takes the gun out and that scene, and then they just go super close up on the, you know, replica and then like Magnum 0.50, and he's like, you're a dick and you got 2 balls and the dick wants to fuck everything, and it's just sort of like guy screenwriter just like kind of struggling like, yeah, this is, you know. And I just thought a little bit of that was kind of eye rolly for me watching it today. So I would just say it doesn't all hold up from like, it's still an incredibly well constructed movie. I love all the characters, but some of the things did not land to me like they did when I was a teenager.
Yeah, I feel you that. The dick and 2 balls was way too long of a soliloquy.
You could tell he was like, this is the sauce. This is like really good.
Yeah. The whole replica Desert Eagle line I thought was dope, but then he just went like blah blah, you know. But I can see that. I can see that.
That's all. I'm just you guys can disagree.
I feel like, you know, I just feel like I'm not trying to be nitpicky on, because times were different then, but it's how well does it hold up. And I feel like Casino shot, the words, the dialogue they use, I feel like it holds up pretty well, you know.
Nikki says a couple
he does
things,
but it's like, but he's Nikki, so it's like
exactly. It's like how can it hold up when you're depicting just deplorable characters, you know? It's that kind of thing. That's why you're doing the same in Snatch, but it was just, to me, part of it was like a little bit like too grandiose about like dick and ball stuff.
Nikki is just basically going to say whatever bad thing he can say about you. If you're Jewish, if you're from the Middle East, he will call you a sand nigger. Just like, holy.
Oh my God, I forgot that he said that. I remember being like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, that was like the first 5-10 minutes of the movie.
Yep.
Oh boy. But
I'll also say the DVD doesn't hold up if we are, of course, saying we're not saying the term that they use for the Brad Pitt gypsy character, because when I went to watch it with subtitles, there was a pikey edition of subtitles. You can watch it in English or you can watch, and I was like, you know, I had to check that out. It's just gibberish.
That's hilarious.
Oh, no.
So like a fun Easter egg thing, but also
so are we calling this a wash, or what do we?
I'm going to say it favors slightly Casino holding up better, but I'll
do it.
Okay, thank you.
And now to our favorite and most irrelevant part.
Yeah.
Criteria. Was Gary Oldman in either one of these films? He wasn't in my film, and he should have been.
No, but I think he could have.
Should have been in this.
Oh my
movie.
God, he could have been in that. Yeah, he actually should have.
It's like, I don't know who he could have been because everybody is casted so well. But I feel like there should have been a role written for Gary Oldman in this movie.
Yeah, I don't want to take anyone's role away, but I would also, part of me would love to see him try to be Bricktop.
Exactly.
I
Bricktop
is
Gary
the
first.
Oldman's a great villain.
Yeah, I feel I didn't even want to say it, but that's the first person that came to my mind was Bricktop.
Or maybe like he's too sad. Like I feel like all of these characters are so funny and like will turn on a dime and say a joke. That Gary, I'm sure he's incredible. He could do that, but like, I don't know. He's almost like a little too serious or something. I'm not sure.
I can see that. Where would he fit in Casino? Because he's not.
He wouldn't. Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I he's not Italian, but he's never been. Yeah. Gary Oldman is always up for accents, so I think he could have pretended.
I feel like I could tell you where he could be. He could either be like on the commission, like he could be like an FBI commission type person, or he could be like a whale, like one of the whales that come, like, instead of it being the Japanese dude, he could be like a whale, like from wherever he wants to be from, and that could have maybe fit into it, but that would have just made it not a model.
There's no obvious spot for him, unfortunately. Yeah. I'd like to see him take a crack at being the De Niro right-hand man character played by Don Rickles in the movie. Just throw that to Gary Oldman, see if he can make hay.
Don Rickles was so good, and he's like the reason why he's so good and the best right-hand man is because he never talks. He doesn't say anything.
Just looks like a potato.
He literally just like calls him that one time and like it's so
shows
funny.
Up with the gun and it's perfect. That's exactly who you'd want to show up with that.
He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't say
when
shit.
He's peeking out the window. That was so good.
They've been up all night long. He's just sitting there on the bar like, wow. Things I do.
Yeah. You know what? I take it back. I would want to see Gary Oldman be the pimp. I want to see him be the James Wood pimp character.
Okay.
Because we've seen Gary Oldman play a pimp, and I think.
Wait a minute, that's perfect.
That's a pretty good call.
Yeah.
I mean, James Woods, though, he was perfect as that. I would never want to take him away, but like,
right,
that
it's the
could
same.
Be good.
It's the same problem of Snatch, but if we have to insert Gary Oldman into this movie, then I would
we
put
must.
him.
We simply must.
We have to. The prompt demands it. Then I would say that he would
All right.
be.
Well, Gary Oldman, as always, is a wash, even though I feel like he would fit.
Nobody wins Gary Oldman
Yeah.
ever.
All right, so fourth, we're going to go to stats. Statistics.
I'm seeing on Wikipedia, which is as trustworthy as we're willing to look into, it was made for $10 million, and it made $83.6 million, which is very successful.
Wow.
Considering Guy Ritchie was still kind of an indie filmmaker at this point.
So Rotten Tomatoes, it's 73% from the critics, 93% from audience.
That's fair. I think both of those make sense. The critics are never going to like this movie as much as fans. It's a little bit crass and flashy, but I think 73 is still a good high rating.
Damn, I forgot that there's a Snatch television show on right now. That premiered in 2017, and apparently it's still it hasn't been canceled.
Shout out Rupert Grint.
Yes.
On IMDb, it's at 8.3.
Get out of here. There's no way
show?
that's good.
No, the movie.
Oh.
8.3.
It came out. The show is on like Crackle when Crackle was still a thing. There's no way the show is good.
Snatch on Crackle, it's 6.9. The show is 6.9.
Crackle.
So
They couldn't even get Malfoy. They had to go with Ron Weasley for the Snatch show.
All right, the Casino. What did I say the Rotten Tomato was for Snatch? I've already forgot.
42 million.
73%.
Oh.
Percent, 42 million
42
budget.
million. Yeah.
So Casino is 80%. I thought it'd be maybe higher than that. That's kind of crazy. It's certified fresh though, and then the audience score is also 93%.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
What does Brianna's Letterboxd review say? Let's take a look.
Oh, please.
Okay, I gave them. I gave them both.
I hope that your Snatch letterbox review is about Brad Pitt's accent and your Casino letterbox review is about Joe Pesci's accent.
I'm gonna change it now. I gave them both 5 stars.
Oh, okay.
Excellent.
Okay.
Wow.
It's 8.2 for Casino on IMDb. I just want, if you guys are both looking, if you look up, do you see the photo that they're using for Joe Pesci on Google when you look up
no.
Casino?
On Google? No. What's he doing?
For some reason, he looks like Cheech Martin to me. He looks like if
God, he does.
If Cheech and Chong, Cheech Martin, he got older and kept his mustache and hair. That's what he looks.
They did him dirty.
They're using current day Joe Pesci. We don't want to remember him like that with the handlebar mustache.
Oh wow. And then, but James Woods' photo is old. What's up with that? Everybody else's photo is like.
James Woods is very protective of his Google search image.
Yeah.
He's like calling his agent's assistant, and being like, "Change the result."
All right. Well, so as for his stats, I feel like that's kind of a wash. Did Casino win any Academy Awards or anything?
I think Sharon Stone was nominated. I don't believe she won. I'm looking it up now.
There's no way she should not have been nominated.
Academy
She won a
Award.
Golden Globe Award for Best Actress.
Oh, wow.
Hey, that's not nothing.
Yeah, that's not nothing. And she was nominated for best actress in a leading role.
She was nominated for Best Actress in Lost, then she won in the Golden Globe, and Scorsese was nominated Best Director for the Golden Globes. But otherwise, the movie Sharon Stone excluded was shut out from the Oscars, which is kind of surprising to me. I have to look at what was popular in 95, but...
Oh, dude, the movies that came out in 95 and 96, if you go back and look, are dumb. It is crazy how many good movies came out between that 2-year span. It's wild.
And again, I think...
It's when I was born, so
Okay.
I don't know if that means anything. Yeah.
I think Scorsese didn't make a crime gangster thriller for 11 years after this, which I know is not a very long time for most of us, but is a while for him. And that was The Departed, which wasn't even kind of Italian mafia, which was his hay.
Yeah.
So I think this was a little bit of fatigue had set in. A little bit of like, we've seen Joe Pesci be mean to people a lot.
In the last 3 years.
We've even seen him be mean to children by this point, and we don't need to see him be mean.
Okay. You think that, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but you think Casino wins stats?
I'm willing to do it a wash, and then we can go in 1-1, and then we can make our final arguments, and
before
Brianna can
I
decide.
like that.
Before final arguments, I just got to bring in an old thing we used to do on season 1, because we got to do it. It's the gambling episode. We got to talk about it. Would Michael Jordan, did Michael Jordan watch either one of these movies?
You know Michael Jordan's seen Casino.
Yep,
I'm
he did
not
watch
convinced.
Snatch.
There's no way he watched
I'm not
Snatch.
convinced Michael Jordan isn't in Casino in the background in some of the B-roll that they shot. Like, Michael, this is a film set. And he goes, hang on, I'm riding the hot hand. Stand back, blow on these dice. Like, there's no way Michael Jordan hasn't seen Casino.
And honestly, he was retired probably when they were filming this because it came out in 95 and he was retired in 93, 94.
A lot of minor league bus rides where he's just sitting on the bus.
He was there.
He was there, bro.
Wow.
You know, he was like, what do I have? I got 3 hours before we show up in Little Rock. What am I going to watch?
He heard about Sam Roston and he thought he was a real person. He showed up. He was like, what are the lines? I can beat you.
Yeah, asking him for advice. Oh, my God.
Just
That's
Michael
so
Jordan
funny.
sitting on the minor league bus with the AA Chicago White Sox team being like, all right, guys, we're going to be, everybody get on the bus. And then Michael's like, put on Casino. And they're all like, oh, fuck, I really don't want to watch Casino again. But this guy's got 3 NBA MVPs. So I got to
We got to watch it.
We got to watch it.
I feel like maybe Michael Jordan would have watched Snatch because he was like, he was like the GM of the Wizards and he was just like, man, I don't want to think about things. And it had Brad Pitt and black people. I think he might have watched it. Who knows? I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I
First
think
of all,
you're wrong.
yeah, I think Michael Jordan turns it on. He watches it for like a couple minutes. And he's like, I cannot understand a word these people are saying.
Yep.
Speak English. And then he turns it off.
You're right.
100%.
Okay, it's time for our final arguments. Quinn, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Thank you, Leonard. I'll try not to filibuster as long as I normally do. So when we landed on gambling movie, I had to think about it because I am not very I'm not a big gambler with my health, with my money, with my whatever. I had to think about it because I'm not like I'm not that well familiar with this genre. I didn't have the perfect movie, but then I thought about it and the perfect movie just came to me. And I was like, it's Casino. I've seen Casino. Don't overthink this prompt. If we're talking about gambling movies, this is a movie located in Las Vegas, a lot of it on a casino floor. And while it is not about a specific big bet that has to pay off, I could have picked like Hardball if I wanted the character to be a degenerate gambler. I could have picked Keanu Reeves in Hardball or something. That just didn't feel like a gambling movie. This felt like a gambling movie. And yes, we all make gambles in everyday life, but I think in the backdrop of having this movie set at a casino, a lot of these characters gambles, like De Niro's with his wife, with Sharon Stone. You kind of see it in the context of gambling. And it's not just that, though. I mean, because we've got that scene where Joe Pesci is on a losing streak at the blackjack table. Who's not familiar with that, either because it's happened to you or because you've seen, we've got the scene where, like, why is Sam Rothstein, De Niro's character, put in charge at all? Because he has a system and he bets sports and he just knows how to pick winners. I mean, this movie is steeped in kind of gambling culture, in betting culture, in all of those things that you would associate with these movies. I would also say, to Leonard's pick, I like Snatch a lot. I did not, when Leonard said I'm picking Snatch, I was like, that is a good movie and that is a good choice. It's an interesting choice, but it did not immediately come to my mind when I thought about gambling movies. I would think of that movie as kind of like a crime caper movie, whatever. There's boxing in it. It's definitely a gambling movie. Leonard will support that argument, I'm sure. But when you're picking Brad Pitt, early 2000s films about gambling, and I was saying I'm going to pick one, who would not think Ocean's 11? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm just saying there are more obvious picks for this prompt, and I think while you picked a good one, I just feel like the kind of mob associations, if this bet doesn't go through, this guy's going to break my legs. A lot of these kind of tropes that we associate with gambling and the gambling film are very apparent in Casino, which, aside from all that, is just a great, epic movie. You also get a little bit of the history of Vegas, the history of gambling in America. That's my pick. I will cede the rest of my time to Leonard.
Cool.
Oh, my God.
Quinn kind of went into where my argument was going to go. As we know, Quinn likes to pick the...
Cut you off at the pass.
Quinn likes to... He always gets his movie choice in first. He picks a very obvious pick. I'm not mad at him. He's a white guy who grew up in Jersey. That's what he does, okay? That's what he does. Me, if I wanted to... When he chose that, I could have been like, oh, I know a movie that has... dealing with casino and gambling, and it could be Ocean's 11 versus Casino. Who the fuck wants to talk about Ocean's 11 versus Casino? I'm not picking some obvious blatant choice, and obviously I could have chose a better choice to win, but I wanted to choose a movie that was nostalgic and meant something to me. And in me, I've always been poor as fuck. Gambling has never been my thing. I always hated. I've been to Vegas a few times now. Never wanted to go to Vegas. Never cared about it. Like you said, your movie is set in Vegas. It's set on the casino floor. The main character is a gambling genius. He knows all the lines. He's the best line setter in America. But it's not about that. It's about the inner workings of gambling boards and not pissing off mob members and trying to buy wives and trying to look nice. And it's not about that. It's all about pride. This entire movie is about pride. But, I mean, gambling is involved in major aspects. But the second half, there literally is no gambling going off in the second half Casino, and it's a 3-hour movie. Snatch ties to me because I've always been poor, and I'm always going to have the poor man's mentality. When I gamble, I make bets with my friends. I've never liked gambling, but I realized my entire life, me and my friends bet on anything. We'll bet on who can kick this can to that part of the thing. Let's just bet on these games. We all love sports. Let's bet on this fight. Casino is like what you think about, the allure, but me as a person, when I think of gambling, I think of betting with my friends. I think of getting into weird, circumstances. This movie has bookies. The whole plot of this movie is centered around a bet. Is centered around a mob boss. People upset with Bricktop because they bet on this fight and they did not win the money that they were going to win. And it's like, who the fuck can pressure Bricktop? But like, people can. He's fixing fights. There's so much more weight on all the decisions that everyone's making. People's mothers get killed. People are getting robbed. People are getting murdered. And it's all, every decision, just even getting into this world is a gamble. So I know that Casino is on the casino floor and there's betting and whatnot, but for me, that's not the gambling I think of. I just think of more personal, cash on hand, seedy underworld. Who can I call to make bets? And once again, I don't know what the fuck Snatch is, but when I think of Snatch, I think of betting, and it's all centered around betting and the consequences that come from that. I just feel like Casino, even though it's called Casino, is a mob movie. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Wow.
Slow clap from Brianna. I hope that's for both of us, or maybe it's for
It's
Leonard
for
filibuster.
both of you. It's for both of you.
So yeah, just tell us how you feel, what your thoughts on the gambling movie, and you can give us your decision.
I have a decision.
I have a lot of money riding on this decision.
I hope you don't. No, I'm kidding. This one's really difficult. I think when you said Snatch, I honestly, like, when you said it, I was like, I don't understand. I was like, I don't know how that's gonna work. I was like, oh my god, obviously Casino. And I went into both really honestly thinking Casino was going to be the one. And I had talked to my roommates. This was like a whole house thing going on. They watched the movies with me.
Shout out to your roommates.
Thank you. So Ben and Carolyn, they're the best. So I watched Casino, and as you were speaking, I'm kind of like, you know what? Casino is a mob movie that takes place in Vegas. And I think there's betting and there's blackjack and his whole thing, but I don't feel like there's enough gambling. Oh my god, I'm like really thinking this through as I say it too. But with Snatch, there is like, a lot of the time you're thinking about how is this bet gonna go down, like the gamble. There's really like gambles being made in terms of bookies and stuff like that. And I'm kind of biased because I'm coming from a place of like sports betting, and I love sports betting, and I see you guys both nodding, and I'm like, stop looking at me. I really think
turn off my camera.
No, please don't. Scorsese did a great mafia mob movie, and I agree, and I thought the exact same thought, where I was like an hour and a half in or 2 hours in, I was just like, oh, they haven't really touched on gambling as much anymore. Like, there was that one scene, I think also the payment of money and stressing about where the money's coming from in Casino has nothing to do with gambles. It has to do with mob stuff and stealing. And in Snatch, when they're worried about where money's going to come from, it's for the gamble. It's from an actual bet. And I think that I'm going to have to pick Snatch, which is crazy, and I'm sorry. Oh, no. And I'm doing speaker view on my Zoom, and Quinn's face is there, and it's so big. It's the one that, and I'm like, I'm going to cry.
Oh, you want to see my face? You want to see my You know what? Thank you, Brianna.
Turned off my video.
Thank you, Brianna. Like I said, both these films are great films. They're both fantastic. But I think Casino is more of a mom movie than it is a gambling movie. And you know what? I do know Brianna. I got her onto the show. She's a friend of mine.
Yep.
And I feel like maybe I had a little inside information, you know?
Wow, you're saying that you fixed this.
No, I didn't
this
fix
was
it.
a fixed
Wait a
bet?
minute.
I didn't fix it.
Yeah, there's
But
insider
honestly,
trading going on here.
When I think of gambling, like casino, yes, gambling. But gambling to me is betting. Going to betting between friends, or like my friend being like, yo, I got somebody I can place this bet with, or whatever. Watching games or watching a fight and being like, God, I hope this happens, because, you know, and I just feel like that's a major plot point in Snatch. And it doesn't necessarily feel like a gambling movie, but I feel like literally everything about it is a gamble, and lives are dependent.
You've already won,
All right,
Leonard.
sorry.
What are you doing?
Sorry.
You're just
Sorry.
you're burying me like I'm Joe
And I'm
Pesci's
sitting
brother.
here
All right.
like, yeah.
I'm just trying to make
Oh,
Brianna
man.
not feel bad. That's all.
But that was, I gotta say, like, that was really difficult for me. And
We can see you
even now
agonizing
I'm
over
still-
it.
I'm gonna watch this back and listen to this back and just be like, what am I talking about?
By the time you listen to this, you will be like, I've made a terrible mistake.
yeah,
But
calling you on the phone like, Quinn, please, I'm sorry.
and like Robert De Niro's character in Goodfellas, I will begrudgingly accept your apology and we'll start over anew. But I cannot believe I put all my chips on Casino, and it came up.
Oh,
It's
so
yeah,
no
there
good.
we
Because I was
go.
talking about this with
Boo.
Rod yesterday, and he thought I picked Casino. He's like, "Wait, you didn't pick Casino?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like,
I
"Well,
thought you
lost."
picked Casino too.
He was like, "You lost. Casino. It's called Casino. You're gonna lose." And I was like, "Nah, bro. You'll see. You'll see."
I feel like okay, so you're up 4-3 in the season series now,
Wow.
Leonard. You only need one more win.
And I'm feeling good
We
about
have-
next week, even though you're trying to make me watch. You're not trying to. You're forcing me to watch.
Nope,
another,
nope,
I'm not gonna
don't-
say it.
don't-
Another 3-hour
don't
plus
reveal.
film. We're not gonna tell it, but we're not gonna say. You're making me watch another 3-hour plus film, and fuck you. But
I'm
it's
making you watch another epic, and
Yay.
we can tease next week. We will be talking in time for Valentine's Day. We'll be talking. Leonard is I can't even look at you on the Zoom. He's flexing. He's
I
sticking
know.
his
I'm like,
tongue
can I
out.
make it? Oh, this is embarrassing.
I really
created a
I thought I
monster,
was.
Brianna.
I thought I lost this one, so I'm feeling.
Yeah,
good.
me too.
I thought I lost this one, so. But I thought.
Oh my
I
god,
was
did
like,
I make it really?
I was like Mickey. I was Mickey out there. I was just on the
All of your
ropes.
fans are gonna be like, never have her back. She made a dumb decision. Okay, but can I say
No.
my roommate?
No, this has been a blast.
Your room is okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Cool. No, this was a lot of fun. Actually, this was great.
Okay, good.
Next week we'll be talking about the best love story, right? That's where we
Yeah,
landed, I think,
we're doing
right?
the
Leonard?
best
Best
love
love story, just in time for Valentine's Day. Leonard and I are both very in touch with our emotions. We are the exact right people to pick best love movies. I thought I had you, Leonard, when I said early 2000s Brad Pitt gambling movies, and you didn't pick Ocean's 11, which granted, it's the same argument that you'd give against Casino. There's not really much
Yep.
gambling, but I was like, hopefully that'll click in of like, why did you pick this movie? But congrats, Leonard. You picked the right movie. Thank you, Brianna, for mediating. I know this was difficult for you, but
Oh, thank you for having me.
but tell us a little bit, like, where can people find you? We mentioned the
Oh.
I won't call it a podcast again. I am sorry. We've mentioned the show. We mentioned the Instagram show. What else? Where can people find you?
Okay, yeah, so that is at bet_the_spread. Bet the spread.
Hilarious.
And then I guess you could just follow me on my Instagram if you want. And Twitter, they're just at Brianna Sedor. And I got good content just bursting from those. So
I'm very jealous
Absolutely.
that both of you have like names that you can just use as your tag, because Leonard
Yeah.
Smith is taken on everything. Like
Quinn Boys is
I'm-
never taken anywhere. Quinn Boys
I
is
feel
like,
so lucky.
yeah,
man.
it's nice.
I'm the Leonard
It
Smith
really
Jr. though,
is.
so I just had to make people think I'm like this narcissistic asshole.
No,
the
that's good. I
Leonard
like
Smith
that.
Jr. Okay, guys.
Dude.
Brianna, to make up for what you've done to me this episode, do you want to leave us with any sure things? Are there any sure things that we can going into the?
Okay, we could talk Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I never bet against Brady ever, and I've done it before, and I'm wrong. And I think Mahomes is incredible, and he's such a talent. But Tom Brady is the greatest of all time, and I think he's gonna win, and it's gonna be insane.
Are you gonna
Hard
do
to
like
argue
money
at this
line? Are you
point.
gonna do points? Are you gonna?
My brother, we're gonna do a whole Super Bowl video.
Okay.
So
Okay.
look out for
So
that.
look
I
out
can't
for that,
wait.
guys.
And you guys will see, and we actually might disagree, so that would be kind of fun. But
Over under on the national anthem. What's the line for the length?
my
That's the
God.
only one I like betting on.
you know what's so fun? The bookie that I use, you can bet on anything with him. So like, I was betting on like what tie Biden would wear to certain things. My friend Kevin was telling me that he was like, I would bet on the tie and what he would wear and all this stuff. It was so funny.
Well, I'm gonna be sending you some bets for sure. So
Please, anybody, send them to me. I'll get them through. I love to make you guys money. So.
People, give Brianna your money, if not your film picks. Thank you so much for being on. Until then, we will see you at the racetracks. Leonard?
Jim, my bookie, this podcast doesn't exist. If you're listening, I'm not in America.
Goodbye.
Bye.